This is a secure area.
Well, I'm very happy for you. Most people live in terrible neighborhoods.
Oh, man. This movie caught me by surprise, Brenton. I thought I saw all Chevy Chase movies until this one. Like, I was trying to, like, watch the whole movie and go like, oh, yeah. I remember watching this movie, but I never watched this one.
I haven't seen hardly any Chevy Chase movies.
They're under the radar, but...
Wow.
I barely saw Christmas Vacation like last year or the year before.
Man, I can't
watched
believe
this. I think I've seen like Vegas Vacation or something like a while ago, but I haven't seen any of them.
You need to go watch him because he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
He's Vince Vaughn of the past. I think he's like the original Vince Vaughn. Because
80s
his
Vince Vaughn.
sarcasm, yeah, is it's masterclass. Did you catch that by chance? Like Vince Vaughn kind of vibes from Chevy
Got
Chase?
heavy sarcasm.
Maybe it
So-
should be the other way.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, like Vince Vaughn. Yeah,
Yeah, be
probably.
like, oh, he's the new Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I could definitely see him inspiring a lot of comedy nowadays.
So, Brenton, tell us a little bit, like spoilers ahead, by the way, but Brenton, you picked this one, or you wanted, like, this was your top tier one. Why did you want to watch this one? Without spoiling the movie really quick.
Well, I actually love both of these. So this is actually a sequel. There's a first one just called Fletch.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find him hilarious. Like, Chevy Chase is at the top of his game in these movies with his, like, sarcasm and attitude towards everything. And they're just so much fun to watch. I was actually rewatching it again before we started here tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the sequel better than the first one?
I think I kind of just like the sequel more for some reason. I don't think I have a definitive reason why I like it more.
It's weird. Like, I was bringing this up to a couple of coworkers last week, and none of them have watched this movie.
Yeah, I was asking. Yeah, same thing. I was asking some coworkers, and I work with some like guys in their mid 40s, and I thought, oh, for sure they've seen this. Like, and nope, none of them had. And I was like, wow, I can't believe it's pretty funny. I told them all that you should watch it if you're into that kind of humor. But the second that I watched it, I love the sarcasm, and I could see why Brenton loves it a lot. After I watched it, I was like, this feels like something Brenton would like and something I would like. Like, I could see why he recommended it. It's pretty good, man. If you're into like my like what I judge the movie on is like, I told this to Brenton. He is a sarcastic guy that like is a little like pissed off all the time, like is kind of in a bad mood, and he knows he's smarter than everyone around him, so that's why he's so like sarcastic and like. So I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this a lot. And I did.
Yeah, I picked that up like right in the beginning. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that too at work. I'm not like the smartest person there or whatever, but sometimes I just like my sarcasm is like too much for some people. Sometimes they're like they don't pick up on it too fast, or they think I'm doing something else with them, like I'm being mean or I'm doing something else. But I'm just like I'm playing around, but at the same time I'm trying to tell you the answer. Like, I don't like giving people direct answers. Like sometimes, I mean, like we get there eventually, but I play around a lot.
What I thought was hilarious is a lot of his jokes. He'll say it, he'll just like throw it in there, and they won't get it. Like they will miss it. Whoever he's talking to, he just throws it in there, and they kind of miss it. It's funny. Like
in their head, I'm sure it's like that must be an inside joke.
Yeah, it's like wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it's like they don't quite catch it all, or it doesn't click for them.
Yeah.
So Brent, like I didn't know this, but I'm looking at IMDb right now. It says the movie was made in 1989. It's rated PG. I thought PG-13 at least.
I don't think it existed yet.
Rated PG-13
PG-13?
or?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So there's that, and it's an hour and 35 minutes. And it does feel like it's an hour and 35 minutes. It doesn't feel too long or too short. Like there's
I forget what year PG-13 came about, because if you go back and watch like Jaws, like that's a PG movie.
What?
Wow.
If you look at the rating, and like Jaws is PG,
Oh wow.
And there's
I
a bunch
didn't
of
know
other stuff that you're like, you'd be surprised because there was no PG-13 at the time.
Mhm.
that. Oh okay.
So the synopsis is: after receiving an inheritance in Louisiana, Los Angeles reporter Irvin Fletcher heads to the Belle Isle plantation where he gets himself into hilarious trouble. So, I mean, we could get into the cast and characters now. So, I love this this screenshot because it's all the characters he was in the
What?
movie.
Really quick, out of all of them, what's your favorite one?
My favorite one is probably, let's see, this guy right here.
Really?
Yeah. So it's Elmore Fudd Gantry. He owns a mansion and a Tuxedo dump. And that's where I got the first clip from, you know, where he's
Yeah.
walking in.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I
I
like
think
when
I'd
he's
go with Claude when he goes for the Tevangelis thing. Because he like throws that person on the ground like when he taps
Yeah.
their head.
yeah.
He like shoves them down.
I think I gotta go. It's hard to pick between Claude and Billie Jean King, Bug Buster.
Oh
But
yeah.
I think it's Claude for me too, because Claude was just like when he's up on stage doing the whole healer thing, dude, is hilarious the whole fucking time. So I
There's
think
this-
I gotta go Claude.
There's this one scene where he's playing Billie Jean and he's talking to the police officer. He's like, "It's in your ear. It's in your ear." And here's the clip I got for that.
It's on this side. That's right. Now make that scream. That high pitch. That'll draw him out. Squeal like a pig. A little higher. Hey, I found the queen. I found the queen. I don't.
He's so weird.
And he leaves the guy. The guy's there. He walks
They're
out.
panicking. Because he has this fake bug. He just told him a bug was in his ear.
Yeah.
It's not even real. And he makes him do all the stupid stuff to get it out.
Idiot. That guy's an idiot.
But that's hilarious when he's talking to those cops earlier when he gets arrested.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Would you like to make a statement?" And then he starts making like,
Yeah. What does he
do what
say?
you or what?
It's not what you
It's-
could do for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you could do for your country. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you want to make this difficult, don't you? Dude,
That's
then
the
they're-
sarcasm.
He's like,
Yeah.
"What's the charge?" And he goes, "You're pissing me off." And he's like, "Is that a felony or misdemeanor?"
and then after that, when he's in the actual jail cell and he meets the big dude, and he's like, I don't even know your name, and he's like, and he's like, bend over, and he's like, "Hi Ben," whatever he says, and then after that he's like, "So what are you in here for, Ben?" And he's like, what do you say? I raped a dead horse, or like,
Yeah,
I molested a-
I
Yeah.
molested a dead horse or a sleeping horse or something. He's like, "Well, I don't really think that that's illegal, but I'm trying to cut back myself."
That's true, because when that guy gets taken out of the cell and he's like, "Ben, I'll be really hurt if you don't send me a Valentine's
Oh
Day card."
yeah.
I think that was the first one that I had to rewind and watch again when he tells him that. He's like, "I'm trying to cut back myself."
But I like even when like before that happens when the girl dies in bed with him and he's like,
Dude, he's
"Well, I
so
was
calm.
good, but I'm not that good."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was so calm. You're like, well, that was funny, dude.
And the
And
cop's
then,
like, "So you're saying that you two just kind of hit it right off?" And he's like, "Why does that never happen to me?"
and he's like, "It's a mystery." He says something like, "I don't know."
Yeah, he's just like, "Wonder why."
Yeah.
Mr. Badass.
Did you catch when he's with the security officer, when he's doing the bug buster guy? When he's talking to the security, he's like, "They're amazing creatures, can eat 100 times their body weight, much like you." See, he gets him like really quick. He just throws it in there. The guy doesn't even catch it.
Yeah.
I mean, even before we got to that part when he's spying on those, I don't know if they're like Greek mobsters or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
at the
yeah.
very
In
beginning.
the very
he plays a
beginning.
maid.
Yeah. But he goes back to his office then, and then he's talking to that girl in the hallway, which is like one of my favorite parts. When he's like, "Oh, you want to have In-N-Out Burger?" And
This
she's
scene
like,
right
"No."
here.
Betty, How about lunch at the In-N-Out Burger?
I'm not hungry.
All right, forget the burger. How about just the In-N-Out?
Ugh.
Very well. How about just the Inn?
But after that too, when his boss is standing right there and he pinches him in the butt, when his boss looks, he just points to another guy.
Yeah, he points to the other guy coming out of the office. That's pretty funny, dude.
It's so funny because you guys were talking about the maid scene, right? So in the very beginning, so he goes back to the office and he goes like, "I need a vacation. You promised me a vacation." And his boss keeps telling him, "No, no, no." He goes like, "All right, then screw it." Then he goes back and sits down on like a random chair, and he says, "On top of everything else, I think I'm getting my period." And I was like, "What?" It's so funny, man, because he dresses the whole part, the maid part, the stockings, and then like he gets billed for it too later on. Come to find out, his boss is going over the receipt.
His boss
he goes
says,
like,
"Sorry, your expenses were rejected." He's like, "You can't do that." Yeah, that's funny. It's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Even his plane ride. Do you remember his plane ride to Louisiana?
Yeah. Oh,
then?
the plane ride was great with the chick.
And she's being real annoying, keeps asking him all these questions. And she's like, "Oh, that's a fancy watch. Is that special?" And he's like, "It's a Lakers championship watch." He's like, "My boyfriend gave it to me. It's all I have to remember him by."
"No, how'd you get one of those?" Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, "Are you a Laker?" And he looks at her like, "What a fucking idiot."
Yeah, but then she says something, and just to get her to shut her up, he's like, "You should try holding your breath."
Oh yeah, she's like, "You're lucky you're landing right now. Like, I'm not landing until over here. That's so many takeoffs and landings." And he's like, "Yeah, you should try holding your breath."
And then they go into that dream sequence where he plays the colonel.
Okay, up until the dream sequence, I thought it was funny, but I was still like, I don't know how I feel about it. And then when the dream sequence happened, I was worried. I was like, I'm not gonna like this movie. Because the dream sequence has funny when he gets, like, before the singing, but then when it sings, I'm like, I'm out of this now. But it's literally like 3 to 5 seconds, and then there's no more singing throughout the rest of the movie. So I was like, okay. Because it was kind of like that on Anchorman when they're having sex, the whole unicorn thing. Like, it's like that for me. Like, I was like, okay, why is this in here?
Yeah.
But then it's not very long. But the part when he's like actually on the plantation, like on the stoop or whatever, and he's like shining the dude's head and everything, and he's talking to the chick, and yeah, that's all funny, dude.
Yeah, and that guy's head he was shining was the alimony lawyer that's sleeping with his
which was one of my favorite scenes in the beginning when he's talking to him, and then like he says like, "Yeah, I heard she's already diddling some bald guy. Can't get it up." And he looks at him like, "That's me." And he drops all his shit, and he puts it in the sink. He's like, "Let me help you out with that." "Oh, look at that, the ink's running. My bad." And he closes it up again.
Oh yeah.
And he kicks him out, and then that was my favorite scene. That's what I wanted a clip for, because the guy, he kicks him out. He's like, "Oh, hey, one more thing." He's like, "I hear they're doing incredible things with bald head guys now. They're actually have a surgery where they make an incision up the top of your head and they pull both sides together." And he's like, "And if that doesn't work, why don't you just have them transplant some hair from your ass? It might make you smarter." I was like, Jesus, man.
You know what's funny, Ed? Like, I asked you guys for like what clips do you guys want for the show, right? And you guys responded at the same time with the same clip, and I was like, wow.
Probably because we were talking about that, like, right as you asked me for it. I was messaging Brenton, like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
But also when he's talking to the lawyer, he says, like, "You're up to $47,000 in back alimony that you owe, or $14,000 or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, stupid me. I was spending it all on food and power." Yeah, he's funny, man. Sarcastic son of a bitch.
Remember the part, like, I don't think we mentioned him yet, but Ed Harley.
Oh, that was great too.
Yeah, he steps into a bar full of bikers and he goes like, "What's your name, boy?" Ed Harley.
And they didn't get it.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
But yeah, it's funny main character. Then we got his name was Calculus in the movie.
Yeah, calculus entropy.
Entropy.
And it's hilarious because then he's like, "Oh, I'm geometry Fletcher, and this is trigonometry Harris."
Oh, I was wondering. I think I
didn't
missed
catch
that.
that.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either because I was like, "Why did he say that?" I don't get it.
I caught it, but I didn't get it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, this character was funny too. Like,
this guy was funny. Yeah, he was like passing funny, you know.
Yeah, because he walks up the steps of the mansion, falls through like that second step, or like when he gets to the top of the steps.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, I was meaning to fix that today." And then they have to go sign the estate papers. And Chevy Chase is like, "Yeah, you can fix the step." And what? Oh shoot, what did I say? I think I said it to you, where he's like, "Hop down, spin around, pickle bale of cotton."
Yeah.
God. I like when he was like, Chevy Chase was like, "Can you get my bag?" He's like, "Sure. Like, you mind giving me a hand?"
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, like, you know, put your hand on it, pull it towards you." He's like making Chevy Chase pick it up the whole
Yeah,
time.
Exactly.
essentially
Yeah, he's
take
like,
that.
"Lift it up, lift. Don't scratch the car."
Yeah, he was great. And it turns out, like, towards the end, he's like an FBI informant the whole time. I didn't see that coming. Did
He's
you guys?
kind of sus in the middle of the movie. I was like, wait, is this guy against him? Like when everybody's like trying to kill him at first, it kind of seems like this guy might be against him at a point. And I was like, oh, crazy turn of events there.
Well, when Fletch mentions it, like in his narration that he does at some parts, he's like, "There's more than this guy leads on. I don't believe this." Like,
Yeah, dumb actor, whatever.
yeah, that he's doing. But I mean, when they team up to go into the morgue, and he finds that big beastly guy again.
Yeah.
What is it? What's he call him? Ed Cleaver or something? Eldridge Cleaver.
Yeah.
I didn't catch on to those like names. I should have like noted that or something, but I didn't catch on to those names. I noticed like Chevy Chase kept coming up with different names all the time. So.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't know.
It's usually referencing something.
Yeah.
The big dumb guy, he made a funny joke too when they get to the morgue. He's like, "Let me see what he's got on him." So he takes the watch, and the guy's like, "Hey, shouldn't I get that?" And he's like, "Tell you what, whenever you want to know what time it is, you call me."
But he scares the crap out of that other guy that comes in the morgue when he's
Oh,
hiding
yeah.
in the shelves.
Oh yeah.
That was weird though. The guy's like, "Can I take a look?" I'm like, "What does this guy just want to take a random look at the dead body?" And he goes in there and he scares the shit out of him. The guy's like, "Oh."
That was great. So then we also have Hal Holbrook plays Hamilton, or he he wants to be referred to as Ham.
Yeah.
See,
I
he's
wasn't-
the one that tricked me in the beginning because I hadn't watched this movie in a long time, and I was like, I know there's a twist somewhere, and there's somebody ends up being the bad guy because he comes off like likable in the beginning, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I want to help you. Sorry how you're treated down here in the South.
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe it's still like this, and I'm gonna be your friend down here." And
Afterwards, it did surprise me, but afterwards it made sense that he was the guy that did it all because, like, in the very beginning, he's in the cell with the big guy, and then this guy just happens to come in and let the big guy out, and like that's his all of a sudden attorney that helps him get out, and is like, oh, he staged this whole thing, you know?
yeah, because there's like the cop even says, "Oh, Billie Jean or something usually handles these low-level cases," and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's off, and I guess I'm just closest."
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cop did say like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I found it creepy though, like how much he loved his mom, like in a weird way. Like he was like
That was the only thing that like didn't add up for me is like, so this guy's whole motivation for what he's doing is like that he loved his mom so much.
Mhm.
Well, she
so,
got
like,
scammed
he's
by the
gonna-
church, and I think he just
yeah,
wanted
and
to like
he
poison
wants to
everything.
destroy the town now because of that. And
Yeah,
That
but
was
like
kinda like, what
sabotage
the-
the crap out of it by putting like radioactive crap all around it.
yeah,
which is like, I guess he's thinking long term, right? Instead of just direct.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, but I think this guy played it well. Like,
He did good.
yeah, not that many funny parts other
Oh.
than
The funniest part with him was definitely when he is in the mom's room, and the guy, and he's like, he pulls the gun out on him, and then he shows him he has the girl with him, and so he's trying to create a distraction, so he drops the mom's picture. He's like, "What are you doing?" So he accidentally steps on it, and then he's like, "Get the hell off my mom," or whatever he says. He's like, "Oh, look, I stepped right on her mustache." He puts it back up. Then he grabs her and he's like, "Oh, look, she really is in there." And he tosses it around.
oh my god,
That
yeah.
part was pretty funny.
That was crazy. Like her urn and everything, her
Yeah.
ashes. I was like, Jesus, man. But yeah. Then we got Julianne Phillips plays Becky Culpepper. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, she was all right, just enough to carry the movie along. Just one of those characters, you know, another like love interest for Fletch to team
Yeah.
up with.
Yeah, it's like the old school style, you know. It's like damsel in distress, you know.
Yeah.
She kept playing like she was weak and everything, but I didn't understand the part where they went to the bar and she was like, "I need to go to the bath. I need to go pee," and then like they do a runaway scene and she still doesn't pee the whole time. Like, she still has to go.
I guess I forgot about her having to pee
Yeah.
the whole time.
And then Fletch basically asked her towards the end of it, like, I have one personal question for you. Do you still need to go to pee or something?
I
Or
like.
did you go pee or something? Yeah.
I like when is it? I don't remember what part of the movie it is, but when they get in the shower together,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Do you know where Wazoo? You know where Wazoo is?" And she's like, "You're in the vicinity," because they're in the shower together.
Yeah.
So that part was funny, dude.
What do you think, Brenton? Did you like her, or you have anything?
Yeah,
Any funny
I mean,
parts?
that's like I said. I mean, she was just there for a bit of a small love interest and kind of helped carry the movie along. I mean, they kind of used her as a red herring for a little bit, or at least because she was the daughter of the Reverend. So it was like, oh, is he the one that's after Fletch?
Yeah.
But then she's like this good Southern girl, so she's clean as can be.
Yeah. It was honestly it's been really hard to find pictures on this movie because it's a classic. It's from '89 or whatever, and like you see the quality.
Yeah.
All the pictures are like,
VHS.
yeah. It reminds me of that. Like, is there like I don't know. There's like a what's it called? What's the word? When you edit pictures, there's like a little layer on top of it, making it look classic or vintage.
Oh, okay.
So then we got this guy. R. Lee Ermey plays Jimmy Farnsworth, the church guy. The whole time we're like led to believe this guy's the bad guy the whole time, right? Like he's up to
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, he's the one that like all the clues are pointing towards. So you kind of think like this church guy wants to take over everything. Which you get that impression from the beginning when you first see him. He's like, "We need your money. If you got money in the bank, send it our way. We need it."
Yeah. If you got only
Yeah, he says like if you have $1,000, yeah.
Yeah. And you're worried about making ends meet, don't worry about it. Send us the whole 1,000. He did good as a preacher, like as a TV preacher. I thought he was. I've only ever seen this guy play a sergeant, like a drill sergeant, in any movie that I've seen him in. So to see him play a preacher, I was like, oh, you did a pretty good job.
I know you can get to see the backstage of how like scammy it is. Where
Yeah.
it's just somebody reading in all the information.
Yeah.
Because I like that one guy he calls on and he's like, he lost his arm
Oh,
or
yeah.
hand or something. And he's like, raise your right hand. And then he's like, oh, no, I mean your left hand.
This used to be very common, right? Like people doing
Yeah,
this,
there
scamming
was,
a lot of people.
Oh, scamming, I don't know, but like my great grandma used to watch a show just like this where the choir looked like that and the preacher was in
Oh.
just like this. It literally looked like this, and
This reminds me
So I
of,
remember that.
Benny Himm was one. And he would
I've
do that
never
thing where he'd like
remembered
push them down and they'd be healed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was funny. He's pushing them, knocking them down. I like when Fletcher goes up there. He's like, "Yeah, I guess I've sinned." and he's like looking at him, waiting for him to tell the sin. He's like, "Oh, you want me to tell the sin?" He's like, "Well, I forget what he says." He's like, "But that's all I'm going to talk about now, being live TV and all. Don't want to get personal." And then he pushes him. He gets the sin out. Devil be gone. And he falls on the ground, and Fletcher's like, "Wow." And he's like this, and then the whole time he's getting dragged off. He's like, "Yeah, that was good."
You know who reminds me of the current one of these though? That Joel Osteen.
Yeah. Joel Osteen's definitely has that vibe.
Cause he was in a lot of heat recently. He's from Texas, right? I think that's where he's at. And when they had that freeze like a year or two ago,
Yeah.
and like all those people lost power, he's like, "You're not allowed to come into church."
Jeez.
Like he wouldn't just let people in.
So there's a scene during this whole part where I guess Brenton's favorite scene right here, maybe his favorite scene. Here you go, Brenton.
Hello? Your house is on fire.
What?
They told me to tell you your house is on fire. I'll take over.
God bless you.
And God bless you for believing this shit.
God bless you for believing that shit. That whole scene was funny, man.
Fletch sneaks in and then just he blabbers stuff in his ear. What did he say again?
Well, the guy had a hemorrhoid condition.
Oh yeah,
and he told him he was a compulsive gambler for 20 years. And he's like, because then Arlie Emery's like, show us, confess your sins. And he's like, "You really want me to show you?" And he's like, "Yeah, show us." So he starts pulling his pants down. Everybody starts screaming.
Dude, his face, when he starts pulling his pants down, the Reverend, his face, dude, made me laugh. He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, no. You can hear him in the background. Pull your pants up. Yeah, that part was hilarious. What was with the tape on the floor? When
he kept
in,
going.
He kept stepping on that tape and like lifting his legs.
I was thinking because so they put that in like when there's construction being done and they have to walk from a dirty area to a clean area, it'll pull off all the dirt on their shoes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I think, part of that there, because I can't remember when he stepped in the mud and got it all over his shoes when he sent those then to his boss in L.A.
The raccoon hunt.
Yeah.
That
and I didn't know.
Funny.
I couldn't remember if that was before this.
That was definitely before this.
And that kind of was like another hint of if you're walking out there or anything, that stuff would clean off your shoes.
Oh, okay.
That makes
I
sense.
thought that was weird.
So we got this guy. Then we also got. Oh man! Like when I don't like. What movie was this kid? This guy in?
When he said that was a hilarious part. When he first sees him, he's like, when you wear all that makeup on your face, you look cheap. I was dying at that part.
Because this guy keeps coming back. That's why when we were talking about the morgue, like he was the guy at the morgue. That was the check-in, and then he was also a biker. So he came back at the biker bar. He was like the leader.
He's the guy that tried to kill Fletch too. Like he was wearing the watch and he loses the watch.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could tell it was him before he dropped the watch because of his belt. He was wearing that stupid belt. I don't know if you guys caught that, but every time it shows him
with the big,
like with the studs on him, he wears that big ass belt. So I was like, oh, it's the fucking guy.
Yeah,
that part was funny.
Other stuff, but
that part, okay. I was a little worried with the with calculus and like, cause some of his scenes were like racial, right? Cause this is back in the 80s, so like they're making fun of old Southern whatever.
Like
so when they're about to do the hunt, and he's like, "You want to go on the hunt?" And he's like, "It's not safe for me out here." That part was hilarious, dude. He's like, "I'm not running around here at night unless I have a white man cuffed to my." I was like, Jesus, man, that's good. He was funny, man. All the shit he said, and
because Fletch asked him, he's like, "Oh, your family owned my family. That's how we met."
Jesus.
And then Chevy Chase was like, "Have you heard of the Emancipation Proclamation?" He's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, I heard something about that. It wasn't too popular around these parts."
Yeah. He's like, no kidding.
Did he tell him like you should look into it or something?
Yeah.
Oh man. So we got this guy, and then we also got. So I got some random scenes from the movie. I know this movie. This is the part where Eddie was talking about. This is where he thought it was going to be like a, what do they call those movies where it's a sing-along movie, basically.
Yeah, like weird scenes. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about the.
Before we get into this, do you want to go back one? I actually looked up. So this guy here, he was actually a former heavyweight boxing contender.
Wow.
Oh, really?
And you guys probably will recognize him more. He was the gruff man from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. I think he's the guy that he delivers the package to in the beginning of the movie.
The very beginning of the movie, yeah.
Wow. He did look familiar. I kept looking like, where have I seen him from?
Yeah, that's where I remember him. Ace Ventura. Good one. But yeah, this is the scene we were talking about earlier where it's just like dream sequence and they start dancing and singing randomly, and I'm just like, this is how they do it in the South? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was probably one of like my least favorite parts of the movie. I'm just like, thank goodness it's short.
Yeah.
No, so like there's no CGI here, and this thing goes far back. There's like a ton of people here.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, wow, they must have had a lot of extras and dancing extras and all kinds of people to shoot this scene.
Yeah.
Well, and the way he interacts with the animated dog and bird, he does that really well for, not knowing where they're going to be to interact with them.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then we got this scene. I just showed it earlier about like the, what's it called? Like some weird ants or something?
Oh, yeah, he made up a name for him. And he's like, you see, you can't even say it.
Oh, and this car, man, this made the movie for me. Like, like the car didn't have brakes, so to stop, to make the car stop, he would have to crash into things.
But that was hilarious because when he was going to investigate that house where he ran into that cop, he's like, in his narration, he's like, oh, and to go out and practice my parallel parking. And that's when you see the first time him trying the brakes, they don't work, and he just hits the pole.
Yeah.
And he stops.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when the guy told him, like, when he's like, does that run? And he's like, yeah, it runs. He's like, your aunt stopped driving it, of course, when the brakes went out. And he's like, I'll take it to the grocery store from time to time, but he's like, you have to, what does he say? You have to know when you're going to want to stop, or he says something like that. Like,
Man. Do you guys remember this scene? Like, I think I got a clip for this. Oh, I don't. But what was the scene about again? Like he went back to go check on a shipment or something?
Yeah, because I think this is the company that's shipping all that waste that's dumping it on his property.
Yeah.
Or near his property.
Yeah.
It
So
was
he
something
went to
with
get
like
info on it.
the blue bird or something.
Yeah, and he was pretending to be from Evergreen.
But what was wrong with his stomach? He kept going.
Nothing. He just said, "Oh man, my stomach been bleeding." He says, "Yeah." He's like, "I've been pissing, shitting blood." Yeah, and the guy just doesn't even. I'm telling you, all the people he tells this weird stuff to, they don't even like think because he says it so quick. Like they don't even think about it. Like I like when he's talking to him and he's yelling at him. He's like, "I'm your number one customer. I haven't got my order yet, or whatever." And he's yelling at the guy. He's like, maybe you should get my file.
No, in the very beginning of the conversation, he goes like, the guy on the left says, my name is so-and-so, and you are? He says, I are pissed. That's why I got this one. That was so funny, man. I are pissed.
Oh, he's like, what's with these guys over here in that getup? And he's like, well, they're hauling around hazardous material. You don't want to get any of that on you. And he's like, oh, yeah, because then it'd be full of holes. He'd be whistling harder than... I forgot what he says. He'd be whistling like something. But it was funny.
Oh, I got this scene because I never. What's up?
He's so calm.
Yeah.
Like he wakes up and she's dead. He kind of just looks at her like, like,
Again.
yeah, exactly.
I like when he's talking to that lawyer and he says, "Oh, we got the autopsy report back, and she died of like natural causes, like a heart attack or something." And so he's like, "Either that, or you're really good in bed." And Fletch is just like, "A little bit of both."
Yeah. And then we got that's it, man. That's the last one. But I have this one last clip. I don't know if this is gonna be. We'll see how this goes. I labeled it KKK. So.
Oh, you did it. I was wondering.
Should I play it?
I was gonna talk about it, so it's your channel. It's up to you. I don't think it's bad, because none of us are. It's not a bad scene anyway. They're not even talking about race or anything. They're just talking about random stuff. So
here we go.
Fruits kind of stand-ins, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We call them klookies.
Bookies.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I was
that
like,
part had me dying, man.
yeah, I was like,
I was dying.
I didn't
But
get that. I was like, what the?
I love when they're sitting on the porch and he's like, "Ah, this is what it's all about. Nice peace and quiet." And he looks over, they see him over there, and he's like, "Oh, friend of yours? Or friend of yours?" Oh, I was dying when he said that. The guy looks at him like, "Really, jackass? Friends of mine?"
I like when he prances behind him too in that background. They're still chanting like "scum, scum, scum."
Yeah.
And then he's like venting about like all the stuff going wrong. He's like, "Crosses won't light. We can only get 13 people out here."
Yeah, and
and
they're
he's
all
like, half
rookies.
of them are green. And that's when he said, "Oh, we call those klookies."
I like when they're doing the handshake, whatever the handshake
Oh,
is,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
smacks him upside the head. He's like, "Oh, it's a California thing." He's like, "I'm from the California chapter."
And everyone goes like, California.
Yeah. That scene was hilarious, dude.
I got one last scene. Like, I love this part right here.
Born and raised in a briar patch.
Yeah. Idiot. That's funny, dude.
Yeah, that's like the best revenge. He's giving his ex-wife the mansion there, and it's just all toxic waste. Because
Literally.
the delivery's still supposed to come. Like, he never stopped the delivery, so all that stuff that was supposed to come, and he... But,
Yeah,
when he
but-
goes to that party at the end, and he's telling everybody his name, did you catch what name he used?
Which party? The Confederate Party or the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It said
he-
it on the picture that Steve had.
Yeah, because he went in as Robert E. Lee.
Yeah.
That's right. No, he said Bobby E. Lee. Bobby E. Lee. It says for description, too dumb to scare easy.
Oh yeah, because he says something like. He says something in the movie where he's like, he says like it should be scary or something, but I'm too dumb to care or something. He says something like that. I caught that. But what I really liked about it is it reminded me a lot of Who's Harry Crumb.
Oh man.
A lot,
I
like,
love-
because he
love
wears
that
all the outfits.
Mhm.
And Who's Harry Crumb is a detective, right? A like private investigator, and he's a journalist. But it's very similar, except Harry Crumb's more of like, this guy is funny and everyone around him is an idiot. But Harry Crumb is an idiot and like kind of does stuff and it works out for him in the end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very similar, just kind of reverse. I was like, oh, I enjoyed this a lot. It was really funny, dude.
Man, I'm so glad you mentioned that because now that you mention it, like I could see it. Like it
Yeah.
They probably came out at the same time too, so like that's probably
Yeah, they
why.
got to be around the same time.
But so we what do you guys? What's your score and what's your final thoughts on this one?
I'd say my final score, I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. Like, I just
Wow.
think it's just a funny movie, but it has that rewatchability. Like, I feel like there isn't an underlying story that kind of gets boring, like some of the other comedies that we watched that were newer, where that love story kind of just like bored you.
Yeah.
Like it's still pretty entertaining throughout. That there aren't too many moments where you're bored and you're just like, oh, how much longer is this?
So you said a 9 and
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if we mentioned this scene, but the chase scene where they're like running away in motorcycles, and when they go up that little ramp, Chevy Chase escapes, and then the other guy when he jumps it and gets stuck in between the train. I thought that was funny for some reason.
His wheel gets stuck.
For me, I feel like I'd give this movie like 7.58. It's definitely aged for me. Like it's one of those movies like not everyone has seen, but like it's a movie I recommend watching at least once and see. I feel like this movie is a gateway to other Chevy Chase movies. Like after you watch this movie, you want to watch other movies from Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cast was small, but I think they like Chevy Chase carried this movie. And there's like an interview I watched right before this where the interviewer says like, aren't all your movies, you play the same character, Chevy Chase. You're basically playing the same person the whole time. And he responds by saying, try to play me one day. See how it goes. And I was like, damn. But yeah, I love the sarcasm. I love like his humor, his dark humor, and he just doesn't care. It's like I really like that.
Was he old in that interview? Like, was he older already?
No. It was like the same year that the movie released. He was trying to promote the movie.
Because he did I think it was on Sunday morning or something. My grandpa likes to watch that Sunday morning show, and I think he did a little interview. It showed pieces of it, and he's like, he's already older, but he's talking about some things that he did in the past, and he's funny like that. Like he's sarcastic like that and funny like that in real life. Like during the whole interview, he would say shit like that, like idiot.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it. Damn, I want to give it a 9 out of 10 too. His humor really gets me because I feel like it nails like my kind of humor. Like it's just sarcasm. So that's why at first I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought, I don't want to watch this. Like it's older. Like it's not gonna be for me. And then like even in the beginning, I was like, it's funny, but I don't know. But then I'm telling you, once you understand it and get the sarcasm and everything, it's funny, man. Like if you're into that like sarcasm thing, you're gonna love it. It's really funny.
Yeah, I feel like the jokes or like the acts of the jokes are like timeless because they're not like during the time. It's like his actions are like the joke itself, so they're timeless. Yeah. But yeah, man, great one, Brenton. Like I would have never watched this movie if you didn't recommend it.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm always worried. I don't want to like recommend something and everybody's just like, oh, that was stupid.
That's what I thought you had done. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, we're throwing Brenton a bone here. We're gonna watch this movie. But I loved it. I did love it a lot. So it's one I will rewatch.
Cool, man. So everyone recommends it, right? Like everyone.
Yeah, you gotta check it out, man.
I'd say watch the first one too.
I'm gonna check it out.
I remember. I think the storyline of that is like this really rich guy hires him to like kill him at a certain time.
Oh, okay. Didn't you say this is being remade too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think they're making a new one with John Hamm as Fletch.
That worries me, cause like. Ham isn't funny to me. I'm not gonna like it with Ham. I feel like he's just stupid. Like, have you ever seen Tag? Like where it's like him and his friends, and they're like from kids. They're playing a game of tag, and he's the untaggable guy. Like you could never tag him, and they go from when they're kids until they're adults, and they're still trying to tag him, and they can't get him. And it's him, it's Hawkeye, it's some other guy, and I want to say Anthony Mackie or someone like that, and there's like 4 of them. But he's like, he tries to be funny, and I feel like he's just not funny. Like he has one of those faces that's like, you just want to punch him.
Jesus.
Like you're not funny. I just don't like your face, bro. So I don't know if it'll be the same with him.
Yeah, I think it'll be hard to follow up what Chevy Chase did.
Dude, he's a classic. I feel like he's got a unique sense of humor that's like just classic, you know.
Yeah, all his movies are basically like that. His sense
I
of
gotta
humor
watch
is
him
the
now
same.
because I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he would have probably been an all time for me if I had ever seen. But he's the opposite of what my mom likes. So if my mom didn't like him growing up, she wouldn't have shown him to us.
Yeah.
And after watching it, I could tell like she would have thought he was an idiot or something like this jackass. She wouldn't have watched. So, yeah.
That's funny. All right, you guys. So we always end the show with what movie is next. I think last week I recommended Tropic Thunder. So Brenton, what do you got?
Man, I'm unprepared for this.
You know what we should do? You know what we should do every week or whenever we do them? 2 people pick a movie and the third breaks the tie.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
So like, and we'll swap the third person every time. So like, if you and Brenton pick, I'll break the tie, and then next time, me and Brenton will pick, you break the tie, and like so on and so forth. That would be a good idea.
So
Did
Brenton
you want
picked
a
this one.
comedy, or did you want something more serious?
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that
It's up
too.
to you guys. I think it doesn't have to be necessarily. Well, maybe it should be the next one. I really want to do like a Christmas one. It could be like, or a Thanksgiving one. I want to do one that's like tied to the holiday, but like it could be comedy or just like a classic Christmas movie. But please God, not Jingle All the Way. I don't want to watch that movie, please. But
Alright.
yeah, I don't care. You guys go ahead and pick. We could
Do you
do. We
guys
have
have-
all the months, so
Paramount Plus.
I have everything.
Steve, do you have Paramount Plus or?
I don't. I have to check. I'm sure, like whatever movie it is, I'll be able to get it.
Because I would say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah,
for
that's great.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with that one. So
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
yeah, I'm cool with that one.
Yeah, I think I have that one, so I bought that one a long time ago. So you guys could go good with that. Good for that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good for me.
All right, we'll figure out a date or whatever. But yeah, planes, trains, and automobiles. It's kind of a sad movie, kind of a funny movie. Well, a great funny movie, but the sad part always gets me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It gets you right in the feels, but
Yeah. Well, Brenton, Eddie, thanks again. And I'm going to show some clips up really quick. I love all these scenes.
This is a secure area.
Well, I'm very happy for you. Most people live in terrible neighborhoods.
Betty, how about lunch at the In-N-Out Burger?
I'm not hungry.
All right, forget the burger. How about just the In-N-Out?
Ugh.
Very well. How about just the In?
Hello? Your house is on fire.
What?
They told me to tell you your house is on fire. I'll take over.
God bless you.
And God bless you for believing this shit.
Born and raised in a briar patch.
Oh, it's on this side. That's right. Now make that scream. That high pitch. That'll draw them out. Squeal like a pig. A little higher. Yay! I found a queen.
Squeal like a pig.
Oh my god. But yeah, man. So we'll catch you on the next one. I'll put it out there whenever we have the date set. But thanks again, and see you guys on the next one.
good night.